body image isn't just about how you look, it's about how you feel in your body and how safe you feel being seen.
Welcome to Talkin' Shit, the podcast where we get real about the unfiltered truths women face in the quest for perfection. I'm Jana, your host, a dietitian and fellow woman navigating the pressure to have it all together, the perfect body, career, relationships, and making it all look effortless. Who set that standard anyway? Here, we're calling out the diet fads, hustle culture, beauty standards, and everything else that keeps us feeling stuck. But we're not just venting, we're diving into how to break free and rewrite the rules on your terms. So grab a coffee or a glass of wine and let's talk some shit. Together, we'll uncover how to live a life that's unapologetically yours. This is Talkin' Shit. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Talkin' Shit podcast. I am very excited to explore this topic with you all today. So this is something that I see often working with so many individuals, whether it be men or women, in this space of weight loss, where we really get a lot of things very confused. And so I like to break it down and have more understanding of, okay, what are we actually working towards as it relates to your health and well-being? And so often, particularly with the women that I work with, there's this hyper focus on losing weight and thinking that weight loss is going to solve all of the problems. However, the problem with that is that weight loss is only one part of the equation. When I am looking at working with an individual, I want to work on health, weight loss, and body image. Here's why. And here's why I segment them is because they are different focus areas. There are different goals. There are different activities. There are different practices for each bucket. So there are things that you would be doing differently if you are trying to enhance your health than, say, lose weight, because the two things are not the same. Weight loss, if it goes to an extreme, can actually be very detrimental to your health. Now, then we have a third bucket, body image. And this is one that I think that we just kind of skip over because we think that if we lose weight, then we will see ourselves differently and we'll have a better body image and self-esteem, but they are completely separate categories. And there are different things that we can work on from a body image perspective that are completely outside the focus of weight loss.
Hey friend, quick question before we dive into today's episode. Does dinner stress you out more than it should? Because if you're like most women I talk to, figuring out what to make every single night feels like another full-time job. So if you're tired of the daily what's for dinner stress, I've got something just for you. I've created the What's for Dinner guide with 50 quick, healthy, and blood sugar friendly recipes that are perfect whether you're cooking for yourself or your whole family. No more second guessing, no more last minute takeout, just real food made simple. Grab your copy for just $9, click the link in the show notes, and make dinner the easiest part of your day. All right, now I'm back to the episode. But seriously, don't wait. Your weeknight sanity will thank you.
So let's get into this because I like to use this idea of fear exposure therapy when it comes to working on body image. And that's going to be the focus for today's podcast is how do we use this idea of fear exposure to help enhance ultimately how you see yourself? But body image isn't just about how you look, it's how you feel in your body and also how safe you feel being seen. Now, this is where kind of the rubber meets the road, if you will, because a lot of times when you are losing weight, there's a lot of things that start coming up that might feel really uncomfortable because maybe for the first time, people are complimenting you on your body. And if you don't feel comfortable receiving those compliments, it can be very overwhelming to our system, to our body. And that's where we can start self-sabotaging or going back into these old habits because it feels very uncomfortable to receive these compliments or very uncomfortable for people to notice your body when you think that they never did notice you. So again, body image isn't just about how you look, it's about how you feel in your body and how safe you feel being seen. Most of us carry around body shame that started very early, especially if you were someone that has struggled with your weight since you were a young child. This is probably something that you've experienced for many years. whether it be like from comments in a locker room, a family member who was always dieting, or a time when you were praised for just being smaller, right? Like you get so many more compliments maybe when you have lost weight. And so it really creates this dynamic in our mind that can be hard to decipher and really hard to sit with and just acknowledge, even outside of where you are really looking to care for yourself in a different way. So when those stories start stacking up in your brain, you start to believe that maybe your body is the problem, right? Like if you're receiving comments that aren't so supportive, maybe you think it's your body that needs to be fixed. Or people are judging me, right? Like a lot of individuals will share with me that they don't like to go to the gym because they're not at the weight that they want to be and they feel like everyone's looking at them. And so it feels very overwhelming. Or if I gain weight, I lose worth. Again, particularly for the women that I work with, a lot of times how our body looks and the number on the scale really determines how we see our worth and our value in the world. And so if you are gaining weight, then the assumption and the negative talk could be that now you don't have as much value or worth. So naturally, we actually just start to avoid this. We avoid the mirror, we avoid photos, we avoid wearing the outfits that we actually like. We avoid situations where we feel exposed, like the pool or intimacy. Even just getting dressed in front of our partner or in front of ourselves can be really overstimulating for the body and really too much. And that's where the body shame can also come in. But it doesn't have to be this way, because really that avoidance aspect is actually feeding the fear. It's feeding the shame. And so in my coaching space, where I work with women to just, let's talk about this stuff, because how often do we have a space to actually talk about this where we're not guilted or shamed and we can just be listened to and validated? We want to start peeling this apart. We want to start peeling back the layers, because there's so many layers in this area. Because what we want to stop doing is we want to stop avoiding you. We want to see you and see you fully for all that you are. And that's where this fear exposure therapy can come in. So the fear exposure is a therapeutic technique that I've actually used in my own journey. And it's used to help you break free from anxiety by intentionally facing the thing you fear in very small and safe steps. And it's something that I use with clients all the time when it comes to body image. It's not about throwing yourself into the deep end or forcing yourself to do something you're really not ready for. No, it's not that. It's about saying, I see this fear and I'm willing to gently face it so it loses power over me. So I'm going to repeat that, because again, like with this fear exposure, a lot of fear comes up, right? Like a lot of anxiety comes up. It's like, oh my dear gosh, no, I'm not going to do that. So let's calm the brain down for just a second. And it's not saying we're going to instantly just throw you into the deep end and you're going to figure it out from there. No, no, no. I take a much more gentle approach, because we have to work with your mind and your body, because your body, you could maybe logically know you want to do this, but it doesn't mean that your body feels like it's ready to do this. This is where I say there's a big difference between knowing what to do and feeling that thing in your body. And there can be a lot of reservation. So again, the idea of this is I see this fear and I'm willing to gently face it so that it loses power over me. So I'm going to give you just 4 examples of some ideas of this fear exposure that you can do for yourself as you're practicing not only supporting your health, maybe losing weight if that's your goal, but also working on that body image aspect. Because those 3 things, when we work in those 3 areas, that's where I've seen the most success with coaching clients. That's where I've seen the most success in my own story with losing 50 pounds and being able to keep it off. So we want to work in all 3 areas. It's not just about weight loss. It's also about your health, and it's also about your body image. So here are those examples. So if the mirror triggers anxiety, A fear exposure might start with looking at yourself fully clothed in the mirror for 30 seconds while saying a neutral affirmation. Now, this is a big one because a lot of times, again, with the women and men that I work with, it can be very negative self-talk when you're looking in the mirror. And we don't want to go to that toxic positivity in because frankly, you don't believe that. So we don't want to lie to you, right? Like we don't want to go from, say you look in the mirror and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm disgusting, to instantly overnight you're saying, oh my gosh, I'm the most beautiful thing in the world, right? Like that's lying to you. We're not doing that. We are being very truthful with you in this fear exposure activity. And we are working towards neutrality because until we can get to neutrality, we can't really work with any one thing. Because in the negative zone, you are shaming yourself and nothing ever changes if it's being shamed. And on the other extreme, if we're going to that toxic positivity, we are completely lying to yourself. So on each extreme, it doesn't work for actual change. So we want to get to that neutral zone. So a neutral affirmation that you can share with yourself as you're looking at yourself in the mirror is, this is the body I have today. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. So the affirmation, the neutral affirmation that you can share when you're looking in the mirror, if the mirror gives you some anxiety, is, this is the body I have today. There's no judgment. There's no shame. It is simply stating, this is where you are. Okay, example number 2 is, I see you. So standing in the mirror, actually making eye contact with yourself and resisting the urge to tear yourself down with thoughts of, you're so fat, or you're lazy, or you're ugly, or you're unmotivated, or why can't you just get your shit together? These are all things that women and men have shared with me that they tell themselves when they are looking in the mirror. So we just simply want to say, I see you when you look in the mirror, with no negative self-talk. We want to work towards that neutral affirmation. Again, that is, this is the body I have today. Number 3, if you're wearing a swimsuit and it feels terrifying, or you're like, no, I don't even put on a swimsuit because it is terrifying, it might start with wearing it at home while doing something joyful like dancing or making breakfast that's just for you and not for others. Again, the whole idea of fear exposure is that it is done in small, safe steps because we're working with your body. If the step is too big and it instantly puts you into anxiety, then we haven't done our job. We've actually made it worse. So again, these are very small steps where you can see yourself saying, okay, yeah, I can do that. And then repeating that practice. Or maybe this is another one that I hear often. If taking photos is really panic inducing, or you just, again, you're your own bully and you beat yourself up when you see photos of yourself, it could mean practicing selfies in private and not posting them, but to get used to seeing your face without judgment. So again, we can really walk into this into a very gentle approach. It can start with a selfie that you're taking a photo of, and then we can move down to maybe your head to your midsection, to eventually we get to you seeing yourself in a photo full body. These are things that we work on as we are granting you permission to not beat yourself up. So each step builds tolerance, right? We're expanding your ability to be resilient in this area and to tolerate the discomfort that maybe you feel in these moments. And each step tells your nervous system, hey, this is safe. We can handle this, because we're really working with your body. We're not working with your mind. We're working with your body. So here's what most people don't realize is your brain is wired to really protect you from pain. That's both emotional and physical pain. So when you avoid the trigger, your brain thinks it helped you survive. But what that does over time is it actually reinforces the fear. So fear exposure is meant to gently interrupt that cycle, right? Like, so if we find ourselves in these loops or these cycles, we want to find a way to gently start interrupting that cycle so that it gets a new direction, it gets new thought patterns, it gets new practices of thought so that you can start moving yourself forward. And every time you face your fear and your worst case scenario and it didn't happen, you rewrite that story that you have been telling yourself. So I always say we have to work to change the narrative that you have on how you see yourself and your body. And if we don't do the mindset work and if we don't do the body work, then you likely will lose weight and you still will feel the same way. And it will feel like really disheartening because you're like, man, I put in all this work. I lost, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. And yet I still feel the same way. That's because you worked only on weight loss, but you didn't maybe work on your health and or your body image. So we have to start teaching your brain. For example, I wore the fitted shirt and nothing bad happened, or I looked in the mirror and I didn't spiral, right? Like, so we're teaching the brain new patterns of thought and new experiences in the body. Or maybe you went to the beach and you actually felt joy for just a second, right? Like, we don't know what that thing is, but think about that for yourself. Like, what is one area that you know that you really hold yourself back for various reasons? And how can we create these baby steps for you to gently start facing it versus avoiding it? So you're not waiting to feel confident before you act. You're building confidence by acting. This is something that I share often, is that you can never think your way into confidence. You must act your way into confidence, because the action is where your body actually says, oh, hey, he or she did something different and now has a new data point to go to for being able to say, oh, actually, you can do that and nothing bad happened. And this is where healing happens. Now, it's not all at once, but it is in a very layered process in moments that feel hard, but doable. So a lot of people say, well, it just feels hard. It should. I like to be very honest with you. It feels hard because you've never been taught this before. So why would it be easy? That's the question that I want you to ask yourself. Like, why would this be easy? No one's ever taught us this before. It should feel hard. This is a new thought pattern. This is a new patterning in your body that feels different. So you're not doing anything wrong because it feels hard. It should be hard. And that's okay, but it is doable and you can do it. So how to start this fear exposure for body image? Here are these 3 steps. I give you some examples, but here's the 3-step process you can try. Number 1 is we want to identify that trigger. What do you avoid when it comes to your body, mirrors, jeans, the gym? What do you avoid? Number 2, break it into small steps. So ask yourself, what's the smallest version of this fear I can safely face today? Maybe it's wearing shorts around the house or taking a full body selfie without filters. Now, this was something that I did in my own journey. If you follow me on social media, I've shared this before. I absolutely hated wearing shorts. I did not like my legs at all. And so I would always wear either long pants or like crop pants, like 3/4 layer length. I would never wear shorts because I just hated them. One of the ways that I started to be comfortable in going out in public in shorts was actually to start wearing them in my safe space, in my home, where no one else would see it. It was just me and the shorts, basically, and started to create that neutral environment, that neutral dialogue. So maybe that's something for you to consider as well. I hear this often with women and like tank tops, right? Like showing your arms. A lot of people are really insecure about that, or maybe even your midsection. So what is that for you? And then number 3 is pair it with grounding. So don't just throw yourself into the discomfort, right? Like, again, we're working with your body. We want to support your nervous system. Take deep breaths, say something kind to yourself, remind yourself, I'm safe in this body. And a lot of people will be like, well, I don't have anything kind to say to myself. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. But can we say something neutral to yourself? Can we say, this is the body I have today? I like that one. Repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. Or can you say, I'm safe in this body? I'm safe in this body, right? So we want to do this in a way that, yes, pushes you outside of your comfort zone, but doesn't get you to freak the F out and completely stop the process, right? It takes time, it takes practice, and it takes baby steps. And remember, this isn't about loving your body overnight. It's about building tolerance so that the fear no longer controls your life. So I want to leave you with this. You don't need to wait for the perfect body to live a full life. No one has it. No one has a perfect body. Even the people that you think have a perfect body, I guarantee you, they don't think that they have a perfect body. You don't need to feel confident to start showing up. You just need to start showing up. There's no more thought, right? Like if you've been holding yourself back in this area for years, you don't need to think more about this. You need to act more about this, right? Like, so confidence is not built through thought. It is built through action. And the more you face what scares you in small, safe ways, the more freedom you get to reclaim for your own mind and body. Because when we're looking at this idea of like food freedom, it doesn't mean like holding yourself back, or body freedom. Like we're not holding you back, right? Like you get to enjoy all of life. And around here, we do not hide. In this Talkin' Shit podcast, in Health Wins with Jana, we don't hide. We face it. We show up. We face those hard things, we heal, and we keep growing. It's progress, not perfection in this community. All right, so I hope that is helpful for you. I would love to hear what you're going to explore in this idea of fear exposure. Until next time, keep talking shit.